signed a pre-election coalition agreement. They've also publicly signed an agreement to contest the 2024 elections as individual parties, which will see them working together if they succeed in unseating the ANC. So this follows a two-day national convention ahead of next year's election. And, of course, it's all around the multi-party charter for South Africa. Joining us to unpack the significance of this multi-party agreement is the president of one of those 7 parties, the UIM, and that's Neil de Beer. He joins us in studio. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming in, Neil.
Thanks for having us, Michelle.
And you know a thing or two about historic agreements, don't you? We're calling this a watershed moment. It's the first pre-election agreement of its kind in a modern South Africa.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But may I say, I think the hashtag that's running around, which is hashtag Charter24, has exploded. And I think it's because it's new. It's refreshing. It's something that we can look forward to, and I'm very proud of everybody there. It took a lot of hustle and bustle. But here's the news. It's going to work because it needs to work and because the people want it to work.
Yeah. 2 days of intense negotiations taking place this week, and that was after 3 months of discussions among the parties insofar as this moonshot pact is concerned.
I think I worked on the premise that the great Nelson Mandela said one day, don't look at what is our differences. Find what we agree on and build relations. And I think when we went in there, we are different politicians, different parties, different ideologies, but there are certain core things that bind us. And one of the most important one is, it's time to turn this country around. And let's not beat around the bush. We don't have much time.
The very, very short-sighted thing I will say, insofar as that photograph of all the leaders of the 7 parties is concerned, is, and you faced this criticism before, the fact that there is not a single woman. One of my colleagues in the industry, Ferial Hafaji, gave us some very important statistics around why that is a big failure of this charter. Single women lead most households in South Africa. Women registered voters outnumber men, and more women actually show up to the polls on election day.
Well, I'm very happy to say, if that is a matter which I take as serious as I do, we are the only IEC-registered current party in government that has a lady as a vice president, Fatima Abdul. And that's not because we wanted to say, but let us get women involved and show this thing about a picture with a woman standing there. That's utter rubbish. They deserve it. They earn it. With my vice president, she's actually the solid rock. 60% of the UIM voters are women. So I always look at it and I say, this is my attitude, if I may quote our quote on women. We don't count the women in the UIM. We make them count. And that is the way that we should go forward. But a shortfall there is, and it is unacceptable. And we must change that attitude that this is not a male-predominant industry. It shouldn't be, and we wait for them to rise. And we ask them, get involved, get out there, so that we can get them in leadership.
Was this one of the issues on the discussion table over the past couple of days this week?
It wasn't an issue that is based on the structure agenda, but you could clearly see the discussion was hedged on the fact that we have to actually turn around and go, this is 2023. This is an era where there should be no disparity about who's more qualified than who. We know they are. We know they are. And that's why we must work better. We have what we have, but that's not good enough.
Yeah. There's a saying by Meryl Streep. She says, if you want to talk about something, bring in a man. If you want something done, bring in a woman.
Amen. I'm there. I think my mom shared that as well.
Okay, let's talk about some of the resolutions that were taken over the past couple of days. And one of the big ones, certainly for the Democratic Alliance, insofar as concessions is concerned, is opening the doors to other political parties that share the same values, quote unquote, right? Who might those political parties be? And perhaps while you answer that, you can also tell us who would likely be excluded from being a part of this charter.
ANC and the EFF.
Outside of the ANC.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's also one of your resolutions. Yeah.
Because I say the following. It is not because we are choosing to pick a fight with them. It is not that we want to make them publicly public enemy number one. We should make the public number one. And our attitude at this current moment is it's merely on the basis of let us do a check of where we are truly today in this country. And the people that brought us here, de facto, is the African National Congress, which I, by the way, was a 32-year member of since joining the struggle in '88. So I don't have a personal matter of grudge of the ANC. It's time they go. It's time that they understand they were an absolutely great liberator, but in 30 years they couldn't become a government. The EFF to us is even a non-entity in discussion because where do they govern? So that's not the premise. We want to see people like Bosa, Rise Mzansi, the ACDP, and any other party at this current moment who shares that core value. And one of the main core values is to remove the African National Congress from government next year.
So outside of opening your doors to the parties you've just mentioned, are you outright petitioning those parties to join?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have sent invites. I think you will remember John when announcing at his conference the Moonshot Pact, which is now called the Multi-Party Charter. The invite was given to public. 6 parties immediately came. Then Isanco now joined within the past 2 weeks. And we reiterated again in public at our media conference, the invite is not closed. If you are a party, if you are an organization in this country who thinks like us, agrees with us, and has the core value, you are absolutely open to join us. It's not a shut door.
So let's talk more about the exclusion of the ANC and the EFF. That's one of the important resolutions that were taken, right? Yes. To not go into coalition yes. or working agreements with those two parties.
Yes.
If the ANC and the EFF then decide to work together
yes.
for elections 2024,
yes.
does that not pose a serious threat to the multi-party charter?
Not at all, because it's a democracy. And you know politics. Politics is a slip and slide. It changes face. This morning I walked in here ugly and now I've got makeup. We could change things if we really want to. The point that I'm saying is coalition government is as brand new as when you got your driver's license. Your first milkshake, your waffle and taking your lady to a burger. We are in a new era in this country. Coalitions thus far has given us a bit of a pinch and an ouch. But at the end of the day, if there is an ANC out there who is now feeling around to the EFF, it means they are currently realizing they better start brushing their teeth.
I want to talk a bit about the issue of building trust, right? Because there were 20 areas, just according to the Mail and Guardian article that I'm referencing here, 20 areas where important decisions were made in the multi-party charter over the past couple of days. And those 20 areas go a long way in building trust between the members, the party members of this charter. These are parties that in the past would have violently, I would say, campaigned against each other in the past and now are working together.
Sure. You know, I'm always trying to contextualize stuff. I'm a pictures person. I was said yesterday about you, the Donald Trump of South Africa. I said poorer, but as blunt. I don't put things through a washing machine. I say it as it is. I like the truth. Refreshing, isn't it?
It is.
So here it is, plain and simple. We've got 2 things that are upon us. Number 1, we have got the possibility of sitting as 7 parties currently, looking at each other and saying, I would really like to go for you tomorrow. But now we are in this charter, and we are saying to each other, isn't this a deja vu of a World War II moment, where prime evil was dictated as the Hitler of the world? The British were seeking friends to destroy prime evil. And look who came. Stalin, Russia. So here we sit as parties, not as equivocally separated like the French, the British, Stalin to fight
I'm not going to ask you who's Stalin in the multi-party
No, please
charter.
don't.
Yeah.
I'll WhatsApp you later. But from my point of view, is we are in this, no matter our difference. We are here because we've realized if there are things that differentiate us, 3 might bind us. But what's the most important one? In 94, we voted to change a country. In 2024, we need to go vote to save a country. And that is a fact.
Let me ask you this, Neil, on the issue of trust. What kind of sanction does there exist between the parties who form this multi-party charter? If, for example, I'm a party that's a member, and post the election 2024, I make all kinds of decisions on my own. Was that discussed? What if I decide to go off on my own, despite the agreements we've made together?
And the nice thing is, we can learn, I said yesterday, being an elder man, having served before 94 and after 94, I have told them, we must remember history, but we must not live in it. The great thing is we've got a track record to see where we're going in politics. The only difference is coalitions are popping up now. This is an absolute clear declaration that we signed yesterday. There were elephants in the room, and we had to cull them one by one. And that was many, as you know, about possible ANC, DA, EFF, ANC. They were really robustly chatted about. But the conclusion was, we are now in a charter, we remain in the charter, and obviously there are things of codes of conduct, matters of dispute resolution,
right.
Like we have decided we will approach this as a business contract, where we have to sit down and say, if you're a partner shareholder in this, you all take equal participation responsibility. It's always that one that I want to be the biggest shareholder in a thing, because when it wins, I go rah-rah. But when it actually goes down, then we say, yeah, but we were partners. No. We're not going to do that. We are going to say we are equal. And therefore, if one steps out of line, then this charter group must conform that party. And there are also matters of what we saw could happen. What if is there a dispute between each other? Do we bring in an ombudsman? And we said, no. The party leaders that we have here are mature enough that we can sit around the table. We've got this far over 3 months. And we shall come now. No one gave us a shot. They said the moon is too far. And yesterday, there we were. Now, if that is all for today, to show the voters the 27 million, the 13 that did not care to register, and the 14 million that did register and didn't go to the ballot, that is good news. We've got 27 million voters. Potential. I love potential.
Neil de Beer is the president of the UIM. It is election season 2024. Let us know what you think. It's the subject of our Twitter poll, our X poll as well.